Today's video is going to be a beach theme with a little bit of difference. As you can see, I have two moon bezels, one silver and one gold, because I couldn't decide what colour jewellery I wanted to make. But it doesn't stop there. I want to make matching earrings, but I don't have smaller moon bezels. So later in the video, you will see me make my own moon-shaped smaller bezels. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. My name is Sherry. If you're not new, thank you for joining me again. As you can see, I've started to mix up some sand in some UV resin. It's not a very nice coloured sand, but it doesn't look too bad. A dirtier coloured sand might have actually turned out to be an accidental beneficial choice. You'll see why later, I hope. For the rest of my beach theme, I am going to use the Let's Resin set of 18 opaque pigments. I have learned that when you're using sand, you need to leave it to settle for a couple of minutes, because you will get resin that hasn't got any sand mixed into it rise to the top if you haven't packed it full enough. So I'm just mixing up a bit of white while I wait for that. And now adding a bit more sand until I get it to a point where I can't see any unmixed resin. Okay, so now I am dropping in that sand mixture just carefully, a bit at a time, making sure I get it touching the edges and all the way into the points of the moon, and I want it to come approximately a third of the way up the moon. So that first layer has been cured, and I'm now trying to just touch them up a little bit, try and get the sand to the same thickness as the bezel all the way up. So where there is no barrier to stop the resin at what would be the coastline, it's obviously thinned out. So I'm trying to just put a bit more on top, cure it as quick as I can before it travels up again, creating a new coastline. And now to mix my colours, I am using a silicone pad so that I can gradually drag in a bit of the colour until I've got the depth of colour that I want. So this is going to be my sea colour, and I'm going to attempt to just do a thinnish strip. Okay, that first layer has been cured, and I'm doing a second layer. First reason being, for the same reason as the sand, I want to build it up to the thickness of the bezel, but also this is where I'm adding my white, and I'm doing that before I cure that layer of sea, so that I can hopefully make it look like a wave crashing. Okay, speeding the video up a little bit now because it's kind of repeating the same processes. So I start with a light blue, which is too light, so I add a bit of darker blue in it, leaving approximately a third of the moon at the top for my last colour, which will be the darker blue, but with some black mixed in. Now, I have seen purple used in beach themed skies before, so before putting the dark blue on, I did actually try putting a little layer of purple, but purple changes colour drastically in UV, so I end up just covering that up with the dark blue with the black mixed in. I will leave the footage in for the purple as well, just so that you can see what I mean. Okay, this is the purple going on, and this is the result. Okay, now that you are seeing the dark sky going on, I'll explain the inspiration for this. I'm a member of the Blue Elephant Gifts channel, and that is Nicole, and every month she does a members only challenge, and it's for all her channel members, so some of them are not content creators themselves, so it's a photographic competition, no videos involved. And the theme for this month, June 2026, was Summer Nights. Now, because I'm loving making jewellery at the moment, and I'm also wanting to practice more beach themes, the obvious choice for me was to make beach themed jewellery, but to bring in the nights aspect of the competition, I just darkened up the sky, and you will see me shortly add some foils in little dots into the dark section of the sky in order to make them look like stars. I will link the Blue Elephant Gifts in my description. If you haven't already, checked out that channel, please go and do so. Okay, back to the project. You will note that instead of just doing one layer of colour and then top coating with clear, I am attempting to colour match so that I can go over the relevant colours, so that I can top coat in the relevant colours to try and just blend the edges a little. I don't like the strict stripes between colours. However, as you can see, it's not really working that well for me. Okay, I am now chopping up roughly some silver leaf, and I will add silver leaf to the silver bezel and gold leaf to the gold bezel. I'm just dotting them on dry. They're not in resin. I haven't put resin on the pieces to put them into. They're just happily clinging to the resin. Then I will finish with a clear dome coat to seal those in. Okay, that's the fronts finished now. I'm going to flip them over, and I do not like how the backs look. When you're wearing jewellery, it might be easier with the pendants, but certainly with the earrings you can't necessarily control making sure they stay facing the right way all the time. So because I'm going to make earrings as well, I am going to give these pendants the same treatment as I would want to give the earrings, and that is to make the backs look as realistic as the fronts do as well. At this point is when I realised that it was accidentally a good choice to use a darker coloured sand, with it being a night theme. Do you agree? Right, on these back sides, obviously the resin is already flush to the bezel height, so I can't add multiple layers. I can't add a sand layer because that will make it too thick and need a really thick dome coat. So over the sand, there'll just be a clear top coat, a dome coat. I will do one layer of all the colours, including the white, then the stars, and then one final clear dome coat. I'm not going to show you me doing all this with the earrings as well. Obviously, it's going to be very repetitive. When we come to do the earrings, what I will show you will be the bezel making part of it. Right, so for the earrings, I'm using my 3mm wide flat wire. There was a lot of trial and error with this, and I don't know if I'll be able to explain it very well. You might actually learn more from watching than listening, but I can't just not try and explain it. So basically I used the pendants as a guide to make the shape, but then I just had to cut it down until I was happy with a size that's suitable for an earring. So I'm doing the outer side first. Once I'm happy with the shape of it, I will then do the inner side of the moon using the pendant as a guide again, and then just slot the smaller piece into the bigger piece until they touch, and then that is what guides me with how big the outer piece needs to be cut down to. One thing that I will admit to having difficulty with, and you will hopefully see it later, is cutting the wire at an angle so that it sits flush together. I couldn't do that. You'll definitely see that later because I try and fix it. I think we need a bit of a story time whilst you watch this. So, as I said earlier, I made this project so that I could submit a photo for a photographic competition. I would obviously have put this video on my channel as a regular upload. However, before I'd even got around to editing this video, Tony from George's Gorgeous Gifts created a collaboration, and this is the first month, June 2026, of that collaboration. And what she does is spins a wheel for that to pick the theme for the month. And coincidentally, the first theme it picked was beach theme. So of course that meant that this video is now going to be part of that collaboration. The collaboration playlist will be in my description. please check out all of the other videos. Thank you. That's the first earring almost finished. When I make the second earring, I use the first earring as a guide rather than the pendant. I will jump ahead now to the next bit that I feel I need to talk about. All right, as I said, I wasn't going to show you me doing the beach theme inside of these, but what I wanted to explain here is that before I chose which side was going to be the fronts, I chose which way I would want to wear them. So I would want the points of the moons pointing away from me. So I've done them in the way that made sense to me. So as you're looking at the screen, the one that's on the left would be my right side earring, and the one that's on the right would be my left side earring, because that way the moon points are facing away from me with the nicest side. I do decorate up the backs the same way as I did with the pendants, i.e. top coating with colours so that I can try and blend the colours rather than have the flat effect that you saw on the pendant before I top coated those. I apologise for the lighting on this section. For some reason, I can find it difficult to find an area with good lighting at certain times of day, and adding artificial light to it just makes things glare too much, so it's either too dark or too glary. Anyway, this is the section where I am attempting to fix the ends of the wire where I wasn't able to cut them on an angle to make them sit flush next to each other. So as there is a slight gap between the wire where the resin filling did not spill out, thankfully, I'm just trying to round off those corners with a bit of UV resin. And then attempting to fill in the gaps between the wire with my chrome markers to keep the continuity of colour. Okay, so for the bails for these, I chose to just add jump rings, and I regretted that decision. They don't look very good. I am very limited in my experience of making bails, and I couldn't think of a way to incorporate a bail into the bezel making, so I could have kept an extra bit of wire on when I made the moons and then twisted that somehow into a bail, but I couldn't figure out a way to do it. So I was left with adding bails after the fact. And as I said, I chose the jump ring method and I'm not happy with it. Also, you'll see that I'm only just adding my stars because I forgot to add stars. When I did my back coating with the colours, I forgot to add my stars in. So because I'm using UV resin to stick the jump rings on, I decided to add my stars at this point. Now with these, because the jump ring is going to be visible at the back, these need to be at the back anyway, so maybe I didn't really need to decorate up the backs the same way as I did with the pendant. Again, I learned a lesson, but I learned it too late. So hopefully these earrings would stay facing the right way. Right, we're coming close to the end now, so thank you again for watching. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Especially if you like people making mistakes, learning from them, and showing you the mistakes to avoid. I do that a lot. I learn a lot from what not to do rather than what to do. Don't forget to check out Tony's collaboration playlist and Nicole's channel. I will also put a couple of other links in there. I have a specific jewellery making collaboration, and you can take part in that whether you make videos or not. Like Nicole, I want to include my non-YouTube creator viewers, so you can send me photos and I will add them to a montage video. So check out that playlist as well. It's a fairly new playlist. I haven't had many other creators join it yet, so it is mainly full of my own videos at the moment. I will also link my announcement video to explain to you how you can join in. Thank you so much for watching. I will play you out with a little bit of music. Please do hold for the glamour shots. Have a good week, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams with resin slow. Some ideas I already know, some scare me half to death, but I still go. Epoxy waves and UV light, trying to get it wrong to get it right. Hands not perfect, that's okay. Every mark is part of the way. I step outside, would feel safe and known. Build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with heart, every part. Loving the mess, loving the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn from my hands. Made with a heart from the start. This is creating